I got the time right here. I got the time right now. Uh-huh. That's right. Time is all I got right here.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, here in the internet world, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you tune in to get the real scoop. My name is Don Strong. I am here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where I am interviewing Brother David from Brooklyn.
Time, she's my friend.
Hello, everyone. This is Brother David from Brooklyn talking today. And what I'm going to talk about is what's going on. And it's important because there's all this excitement over these so-called political conventions of the Uni-party. We don't have anything but one party in this country that is viable. And that's the Uni-party with two divisions in it called the Republican and Democrat. And I say Uni-party because they have the same mission or goal, and that is to enrich the people at the top at the expense of everybody at the bottom. So most people don't understand this. They think you have elections that are rarely real elections because you have Republican and Democrat. You don't have any viable political parties at all because the elections are run by the states and they make it very difficult for political parties to get on the ballot or individuals. And at this stage in American history, we've got it winnowed down to two groups who have the same goal. And I emphasize the same goal because they're in the service of the same people, at less than 1/10 of 1% that really controls the country. The people do not control this country. It's controlled by the rich and powerful, the plutocrats, the corporations, and they really pick the candidates. And every once in a while, they let people vote. Every couple of years or every 4 years, you vote for president. And those people who are allowed to go have been vetted by those who rule. As you're not going to get to be a candidate for president on the Republican line or Democrat line without being vetted by those at the top. They have too many ways to stop you. The ruling class in this country controls most of the newspapers, the radio, the television, all corporate television or corporate radio, whether you're talking about Fox News or CNN, ABC, NBC, or ABC, or most of the commercial television stations are controlled by those who rule. So they have a good handle on what information is given out. So I think that's important for everyone to know. Now, I'm hearing about everyone listening to the speeches that the Democrat division of the Uni-party's convention. Well, you know, it's wonderful that you hear all this rhetoric and nice words, and I listened to one of them, and they mentioned the word democracy. I don't know how many times. It comes to me that if you keep repeating a lie long enough, people see it and believe it. So I think that's what we have here. We don't have democracy, we have a plutocracy, government by the rich and powerful, and in their interests. And that's very clear that if you had democracy, people wouldn't be poor or near poor. That's what we have here, poor and near poor people at the bottom we have a professional class above that, and we have a ruling class, and the people in that top class, the biggest ones, have as much wealth as the bottom half of the country, the people that live here. So why would you call yourself having a democracy when you're kept poor? In addition, don't forget, the United States is an empire. It's all over the world. It has bases all over the world, and any country that rises up and doesn't go along with the program of imperialism, which is to get the wealth in terms of human wealth or natural resources, has trouble. You have coups d'etats, you have things that get rid of people they don't like. Many countries have sanctions against them if they don't comply with the United States. So all this talk about democracy, to me, is faulted in terms of lying to the people. The people have to understand that the place is run by the rich and powerful. And if you're going to run a place like this, you must have a strategy. And the strategy, the main strategy, is called divide and conquer. And you can go back to the 17th century when it was instituted in law, the white supremacy that was instituted then in terms of the legal structure to divide people. So as many ways as you can cut people up by so-called race, by ethnicity, by gender, by wealth in terms of stolen land, whatever you can do. And when the Constitution was made up, it was made up by mostly slave-owning people. So why would slave-owning people and people who wanted to rule and get rich want democracy? I don't think there's anything in the Constitution that says democracy. And I'm sure in the Federalist Papers, if you look in there, you'll find something that is against democracy. So it's important for people to understand the game that's being run on them. Now it's the Democrats. In a short time, it will be the Republicans. So that's important for people to understand what is going on with the situation we have. They have so many ways of playing people. They play your patriotism. So you're supposed to send your children to war, and they like that, and that makes you patriotic. You go to war and possibly kill some people and maybe get killed yourself. They have so many ways of controlling those in the country. When you think about it, and I think about what's going on, how elections are funded here. How can you have democracy when you have a system of campaign contributions, when those in the ruling class give billions of dollars to candidates? And do you think that you're the constituents, average person, that they're worried about? Or they're worried about the people who give them the monies they can run? The people that sit in Congress have to go along with the ruling class plan. Anyone that doesn't will be out of luck. Anyone that bucks that, like Cynthia McKinney or someone like that, will be on the outs. So it's very important for people to understand what is happening here. So I would say it is very important to understand that the ruling class knows how to throw out bones. And what do I mean by that? Throwing a bone out means that when things get kind of difficult for those who rule, they give the people something. Like Franklin Delano Roosevelt in the Depression, he saw the socialists, the communists, the union movement and all that. And he looked back to the Russian Revolution, and he told those who ruled that he had to kind of do something about that. So they have to give up something. That's how we got Social Security. That's how we got unemployment insurance. Even with Social Security, though, that didn't include most Black people who are involved in domestic work or farm labor. And that was a gift to the Southern racists who ran the Democrat Party. So that's how it works. So don't go around thinking that you're running stuff that you don't run. So you can go down and run to the polls and vote for whosoever you want, but don't forget, you're not running the place. The people at the top, the rich and powerful, run this country and are all over the world doing what they do as an empire. So keep that in mind.
Wow. So we are, according to this view, we are in kind of a monoculture with regard to the political parties. They just have different standing.
Yeah, what's happening is that they've essentially eliminated, in most cases, the ability of people to have viable political parties. We do have some, but none of them are viable. The only viable parties right now are the Republican group and the Democrat group of the one party, which is Uni-party. And they're the only ones that have a viable chance of doing things like getting to the presidency. So people have to understand that. One thing that people can do is, deregister from whatever they registered for and become independent people. That's a start. So people ought to think about that. Why are you in a party that doesn't represent your interests? You ought to think why you're doing that. So that's one start about making any kind of change. So we ought to be thinking about parties that serve our interests. Now, I've heard people say, these people are not perfect, but someone said, as Franklin Delano Roosevelt said, oh, make me do it. Why? The point is, you should think about that and not get yourself in a position of having a party that that doesn't stand for what you want. Why do you have to make them do it? Why don't you have a party that wants the things done that you want and not have to go around begging and making someone do the things that you would like to have? So in this case with Trump, people have no demands. They just want to, some people just want to get rid of Trump. My feeling at this point is people have to get to the point where they understand the game that's being played on them. And most people don't understand. And how can you be in a party run by multi-billionaires and think they're going to be serving your interests as they enrich themselves and you're poor? So I think people should think about that.
Well, thank you very much, Brother David. It's always good to hear you speak and give your enlightening opinions on the situation that we live in here. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
I got the secret here in my shirt pocket. You can have the time you're needed. You can just float with me. Ride it up, baby, ride it up like the sea.